You mean the
Yes.
from the very beginning?
I don't
Is
think
it
it
from the
was live
item number
prior.
4? Yeah, okay. I'll start from the item number 4. Next is item number 4. That's declaration of conflict of interest, if any. Does any member have any conflict under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act?
For me, it's Farid.
Farid, you said something?
No, none from me.
Okay, thank you. Hearing none, let us move to the next item. That's the item number 5, approval of the public session minutes of this committee's meeting held on November 28, 2024. Are there any amendments? Hearing none, may I have a committee member move a motion for approval of the minutes?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Moved by Farid. Thank you, Farid. And Warren, would you like to second?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Next is item number 6, approval of the minutes of the closed session of the meeting held on November 28, 2024. I need a mover.
So moved.
Moved by Warren. Thank you. And seconded by Farid, I believe.
Yeah, thanks.
All in favor? Thank you. Let us move to item number 7. That's the review of AFRC's action items. We do not have any outstanding action items within this committee. Does anyone have any comments, additions to the action item list?
I've reviewed them, Mr. Chair. Everything seems in order.
Yeah, thank you, Warren. Hearing none, we will move to item number 8, CEO's update. Over to you, Tom.
Yes, through the chair, and thank you, Lawrence. As the committee is aware, we have been developing our enterprise risk management framework, including the policy previously approved and the supporting process for identifying, assessing, reporting, and mitigating risks. We look forward to bringing this priority item to the committee, and we'll discuss more in the in-camera segment later today. And we also want to advise the committee that we're starting with the upcoming annual audit process, which will conclude with the reporting of the audit results at the next AFRC on April 9th, 2025. This is now underway, and Vince and team will be working with the auditors and the TSHC team to move this one forward. And finally, I just wanted to mention that recently on January 16th, the mayor held a live stream consultation with both Toronto Seniors Housing Corporation and TSHC tenants on the 2025 budget. The city manager, the CFO, and the budget committee chair were also in attendance. TSHC helped support getting awareness of this event out to tenants and also was attending and monitoring the discussion live during the consultation. The city advised that there were about 158 participants. Several callers, for example, spoke about issues of safety and security, the need for continued investment in maintenance and affordable housing. TSHC was pleased to see the results of this session, which reinforces the importance of our work in alignment with the city, with TSHC, and I'm sure will be similar events in the future. And later in today's meeting, Vince will be providing an update on our current status of the 2025 budget process for TSHC and the city. And that's my comments for today. Thanks.
Thank you, Tom. Does anyone have any questions for Tom? Okay, hearing none, we will now move on to item number 9. That's a proposed 2025 work plan for this committee. Over to you, Grant.
Thank you, Lawrence. Through the chair, and Karen, if it's possible, if you could bring it up on screen, that would be great. Included in the package for the committee, similar to how we have prepared in previous years, a view of each of the meetings throughout the year. You'll see that we have outlined the proposed topics for each of the meetings. So you'll see this meeting here today is obviously the first one. Our next meeting in April with some of the references that Tom just made. And you'll see some of the other things throughout the year as we get through the June, September, October, and November meetings. We have reviewed this work plan as well and had a discussion with Lawrence in advance of bringing it to the committee today. You'll see the items with an asterisk, just to remind those are items that will proceed to board. We'll take any questions on this. Maybe I'll just comment that, it's a full year up ahead. You'll see some new things in this year, including the enterprise risk management reporting, for example, some policy items as well. And we'll talk more about some of that later on today.
Thank you, Grant. Any questions for Grant or any additions you would like to have for the work plan? Councillor Crisanti.
Yes, thank you. So, Grant, just some clarity on Q2. And when it says your recommendation to the City of Toronto's 25 auditor city reporting requirements, can you clarify what that includes?
I'm gonna ask Vince if he can respond to that one, because that is an item that we bring through each year in terms of a recommendation that we have to provide as part of the annual reporting package. But Vince, maybe you can explain that just a bit further.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. And through the chair, regarding the recommendation to the city, so this is the sort of like a 3 or 4 attachment that included in this case here, the reporting requirements along with the CEO's information as well. And is a bit more extensive, and we can certainly provide that information if you require further information. But I recall that there's about 3 or 4 attachments included, and along with that as well is the recommendation from the city to move forward with the new auditor as well. Okay.
Does any of this tie into the actual agreement that we still haven't ratified or completed between TC Toronto Community Housing and our in Toronto Seniors?
So through the
go ahead, John. Go ahead, Grant.
Thank you. So through the chair, no, this would not be associated with those, that sort of aspect. It's separate from the agreements.
Okay. Will we get any update in this particular meeting as to how those discussions are coming along?
So through the chair, we don't have an item on this meeting to talk to that, but when we go on camera, we could if you'd like. It is something we will bring back an update to the Corporate Governance and Human Resources Committee upcoming as well.
And that's fine. It can wait for that. No worries. Thank you.
Any more questions for Grant? Okay, hearing none, let us move to item number 10. That is 2 proposed policies, whistleblower protection policy and fraud prevention policy. Over to you, Carol, Dave, and Vince.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Maybe I can start, and then Dave and Carol can add as well. There are 2 policies that are going to be expected to come to AFRC for approval, a recommendation, and of course, recommendation to the board for approval. The 2 policies are under attachment number 3 and 4 that talks about the whistleblower protection policy and the fraud prevention policy. This is following the June of 2024 CGHRC on bringing forward the whistleblower protection policy into the AFRC, along with the fraud prevention policy, which has been expedited and worked on over the course of the last 6 months to present it for consideration. The WPP, whistleblower protection, is an update from April of 2022. The FPP is a new policy after further review, which was not adopted in 2022 upon further review of the policies within the organization. So within the attachment as well, you will see 4 attachments. There's a brief presentation to the policies, and this was brought forward to the AFRC chair recently, probably I think about 3 weeks ago. And then of course, attachment number 2 is the slight edits and changes from the April of 2022 revision to the current revision on the WPP. The attachment number 3 outlines the new policy on the WPP, and attachment number 4 is the fraud prevention policy. So those are the 4. So there's 4 attachments for consideration.
So through the chair, with respect to the whistleblower protection policy, I'll have Dave Slater give a high-level overview to the committee. Dave, over to you.
Thank you, Carol. And through the chair, the whistleblower protection policy was initially adopted from the Toronto Community Housing, and after in 2022, and after consultations with our CGHRC and the chair of AFRC in June, we made some adjustments and amendments to the policy, including the addition of the anonymous reporting channel using the solution that was formerly called Clearview that we use along with Toronto Community Housing, and made some other adjustments to the policy and the language as was presented in your package.
Thank you. Over to you, Vince, for FPP.
Great. Thank you, Carol. With respect to the FPP, the work was started in July of 2024 to make all the updates and changes, including working on the procedure. And at this point right now, we're at a process where it is presented to the board. Further, in terms of development of the procedure is needed. And then on top of it, training and also communication of the policy will be brought forward in the later part of 2025. That is sort of the timeline and the work plan of what we have in store for these two policies.
Okay. A lot of time, work, and discussions have gone into developing these policies. Thank you, everyone. Procedures are yet to be developed. There's an old idiom, the God or the devil is in the details. The procedures that are being developed will have those details. Let us wait and see. Does anyone have any questions or comments on these policies?
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'd like to ask a question.
Yes, sir. Please go.
It's my, perhaps the answer is in the materials, although I can't say that I saw it. I do the role of this committee in the process that is being contemplated under both the fraud policy and the whistleblower policy. As you know, in many organizations, fraud issues are brought to the chair of the audit committee. And of course, at the time of an audit, it is the external auditors will surely be asking the chair and members of the audit committee if they are aware of any instances of fraud. So I'd just like to get straight in my mind, what, if any, role is contemplated for this committee in the processes that are being contemplated for both the whistleblower and the fraud prevention policies.
Vince, please go ahead.
Yeah, and thank you, Mr. Chair, and through the chair. And so that is a very valid question. We are developing the procedure. The procedure will outline the triaging aspect of it. Also includes, how the intake will come through, along with a reporting requirements to the committee on a regular basis, be it quarterly or semi-annually basis. But some of those have been in development and are having been in conversations and discussions to be worked out. But to Mr. Chair's point earlier, the devil is in the detail, and we are probably close to completion of the procedure, and just a bit more of a fine-tuning aspect of some of those areas. But overall, it is in that process as well.
Through the chair, if I may, one of the recommendations or feedback from our AFRC chair was recommendation that board of directors be made aware of when the CEO is implicated in a complaint. So any conflicts of interest, any things that arise between the board chair and the director of people and culture, they will work together to be able to communicate that and make sure that the board is aware. So I'm not sure if that responses to your question.
Yes, Farid, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to sort of follow up on Warren's question, which is quite valid, and perhaps there needs to be an amendment. And this is, I mean, I understand what Carol mentioned, and that's in the policy where the board the board will be receiving information on some of these issues. But I think Warren's question is quite valid and quite appropriate, and perhaps requires a separate point, which is when the auditors ask the audit committee whether they are aware of any fraud, that audit committee has to be in a position to be able to respond. So I think it might be appropriate for the audit committee to receive either an attestation or some kind of testimonial just before the audit is complete in this regard, so that the chair of the committee can answer the auditors in a way that is representative of what's happening across the organization.
Thank you. There is already a reference to informing the audit committee chair, but more detailed one probably included in the procedures which are being developed.
No, but I think this is a policy issue. This is not a procedural issue.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree with Fareed.
Grant, would there be any amendment or any specific reference to that in the policy itself?
So through the chair, I think what we can do if the committee is supportive is we could probably look at an amendment to add a point in the policy reference what had just been discussed. And we could build the language from this discussion here. And then when we bring it forward to board in February, we would include that and then highlight that, further to the discussion at AFRC, the policy is recommended for approval, including this language amendment, if the committee is supportive of something like that.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I don't have any issue or concern with that. I think all we need is a simple amendment to indicate that the audit committee will receive a report regarding any accusations or any complaints or whatever the language is regarding any issue, any cases of fraud.
I think through the chair, like there is a point in there, and as Lawrence had noted, that talks about notifying the chair of the committee. Maybe we can just expand that point to include the chair of the committee and the committee. Something like that. Because it is there, it just didn't say the whole committee. So
subject to that amendment, should we be approving these two policies today, or?
So through the chair, we would, I believe that you're still in a position to approve the policies to move forward to board for consideration. And then we can make these amendments for that when it comes forward at the board level to add that sentence or amend the one that's already there to just add the AFRC as a whole.
Mr. Chair, I'm comfortable with proceeding in that fashion.
Okay. Yeah. Fareed, you are comfortable with that? Fareed? Anyway, yeah, lost me. Okay, I'm okay with that. Fine.
And through the chair, Lawrence, when the motion comes up on the screen in a minute, we may want to add a sentence to that motion that says further to the amendments for AFRC to be notified.
So Karen, would you be able to make that amendment and display that motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, just changing now and we'll put up on the screen momentarily. Thanks.
Okay, I'll wait for a minute. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I do see Carol has her hand up. I'm not sure if that has something to do with this item or, sorry.
Okay. Yes, Carol, go ahead.
Through the chair, I tried before and it said it wasn't working, so I guess it finally kicked in. So nothing from me. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'm going to share now with the amendment to include reports B to the AFRC chair and committee members, and I'll put that on screen now.
Thank you. That will be to the chair and committee members. Okay. If committee members are fine with this, I need a mover and a seconder.
Mr. Chair, I'm prepared to move.
Yeah, moved by Warren. Fareed,
I'm happy to second.
Yeah, thank you. All in favor, carried. Item number 11, that's procurement change orders. Over to you, Vince.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And so presented with you in front of you, there's two items for approval. Is recommendations for approval by the AFRC. And the reason for the recommendations is that these change order exceeded the 20% change order limit, and therefore is required the approval of the AFRC committee. If and attached, you will find the first item relating to the Toronto Community Housing Service Delivery Agreement, and to be extended to February of 2026 in the amount of $12,026,279 for the service delivery agreement. And the second item is a change order in the amount of $25,000 to March of 2026 for extensions of the interpretations and translations of services through Revent, which is the name of the vendor that we deal with there.
Any questions on that? Councillor Crisanti.
Yeah, sorry, so what raises a question to me is, okay, this is a significant changeover, but I just want to understand, or a significant number, $12 million. And this is because of the fact that we don't have a lease agreement in place?
Vince?
Yeah. Yes, and through the chair, partially this is an agreement that we have signed with TSHC back in 2022 for some of the back office support and services for delivering of these services from TSHC. And this is a part of the two agreements that we've signed with TSHC. The first agreement is the transition agreement. This is the service delivery agreement, which more or less talks about the back office, including IT related support and all the other back office administration support to support the operations at TSHC.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Yeah,
no, that's good. That makes sense. All right, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Any other questions? Okay, we are looking for a motion for this item. May I ask for a AFRC committee member move to approve and recommend to the Board of Directors to adopt the following resolution. It's displayed there. I need a mover and a seconder.
So move, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair.
Yes, Fareed, second.
Yeah, no, Mr. Chair, I don't know, maybe this is out of order and perhaps it's too late now. And I'm just following up on Councillor Crisanti's question. And I mean, I agree with the explanation, but the number seems exceedingly high. And I was wondering if perhaps there can be a one phrase descriptor of what that 12 million represents. So we're not seen as simply rolling over a $12 million contract without necessary due diligence. So I don't know if an amendment is in order to provide maybe a 2 or 3 word descriptor as to why this is being facilitated, because someone looking at this without the context may be misled.
Grant?
So it's through the chair. What we can do if the committee would like is when we bring this forward to board, because this ultimately has to go forward for board approval as well at the February 26th meeting, is add a little bit more description of that item. And to Vince's point, this essentially ties into our agreements with TSHC and the whole budget allocation. And it's just really the process to manage our payment associated with that. However,
yeah, so perhaps we can add that, Grant. I mean, I think that's all we're saying.
if that would suffice at this point, then certainly we can do that. And thank you, Fareed, for suggesting that. It is a large amount, we do understand.
Yeah, so we will amend this motion now.
Karen, can you put up the existing motion if that's okay? I'm through the chair. I'm wondering if the committee would, the motion itself, I think, is sufficient maybe in terms of what actually needs to be approved. It's more about the details maybe in the report that provide I think there's a table that does provide information about this. Maybe we could take it away that we would enhance that table with more description. So I'm not sure what to do with this exactly. Let's see here.
Are members agreeable? Fareed?
Yeah, like I said, I don't have any substantive concerns with the motion, Mr. Chair, but the way the motion reads, it is as if the committee is recommending for board approval a $12 million change order.
And through the chair,
Yeah.
it is actually the case that is true. It is actually that. And this will be a repeat thing because we'll have to keep coming back with this because of the fact that we have a recurring payment with TSHC on this stuff.
Yeah, and
Okay,
we have done it.
so again, Mr. Chair, through you. So I don't see any reason why we can't add that phrase in it. It could say Toronto Community Housing Service Delivery Agreement fee extension to February 2026 and the amount of 12 million and change in keeping with whatever in keeping with our agreement with TSHC or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Thank
or
you.
whatever the agreement is.
Mm-hmm.
In keeping with the well, we could say that in keeping with the requirements of the service delivery agreement.
Yeah, that's all you need to
yeah.
say.
Yeah, or consistent
With the ongoing,
service,
with the ongoing requirements of the.
Yeah, something to that effect. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, sorry, Grant, you're saying, if I could jump in, you're saying this is going to happen again. Well, up until we have ratified like an agreement, whenever that's going to be. And if this happens again, is this a number that is going to change next time, or is the number always consistent at 12 million?
The number will change through the chair, and it is aligned to how our budget allocation is sort of set up each year and the reconciliation process. Vince can maybe speak to it a bit more.
Yeah,
Yes,
and thank you, Mr. Chair. So the first year that we had this starting in 2022, and of course with 2023 and 2024, there has been a couple of other changes and updates since. So it will be a continuation, and it will also be, I guess, a revolving number in this case here, based on the expected in terms of increases from 2023 versus the 2024 versus 2025 amount. The expected change was about between 7 to 8% in terms of increase. Now that increase is, as Grant mentioned earlier, is a budget allocation. These are the costs related to the back office support. And in the attachment attachment number 1, to the far right of the description, there is a sort of a, descriptions in terms of that. And if we need to make that a little bit more clarified, we will. But that just sort of exemplifies what the additional services has been made. The last time that this was brought forward was in April of 2024, which included the adjustments for that. So it has been an ongoing extension, and it will remain so, but the number will continue to change, which we will work with TSHC to update that based on the budget allocation.
Can you
all
see?
right.
Can you see that my hand's up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tom.
Yes, go ahead, Tom. We see your hand. Yeah.
Yes, just through the chair to committee. And just I would like to clarify that to you, Councillor Crescenti. Yes, we are working on a new agreement with Toronto Community Housing. That future agreement will still have an element where we are dependent on the back office and a lot of those services from TCHC. So that will always be kind of present in our agreement, right? There will never be kind of a complete separation because of the back office supports that they provide to us. I would be hopeful that with the new agreement that there would be more and better defined budget allocations across the two organizations, and therefore we may not end up in this type of situation. But I just want to make it clear that there will continue to be, in spite of what the new agreement is, an element of support, clearly back office from TCHC.
Thank you. Okay, if we don't have any further questions, I need a mover and a seconder for this one, this motion.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Warren. Seconded by Fareed, I believe. All in favor? Yes, Fareed, you agree, right?
No, I'm good, Mr. Chair.
Okay, yeah, because we have been, approving this kind of motion in the past also. We have done that.
No, just like I don't want to speak during the motion we voted on. But I guess my point is, yes, we do, but it is a reoccurring thing, and there should be some reference in the motion to that effect, because someone looking at this year over year, seeing the board approving a $12 million extension on a annual or biannual basis, I mean, would wonder why we're doing it. So I'm saying is that we preface it to that effect by saying that in keeping with our agreement or with the budget allocation or whatever the appropriate technical language is.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, okay, going forward, it will be certainly done.
So can I jump in one more time?
Yes, Councillor.
I heard what Fareed had to say there, and I absolutely agree with his statement, and we have to be fully transparent. When I look at the chart or the sheet that speaks to the procurement change orders, so yeah, when somebody looks at this, not everybody knows exactly what's going on here, and that we don't have, we're not totally independent. We've got money flowing in from Toronto Community Housing and who knows where else, but so right now we've got an original commitment value of it looks like $4 million, and then there's an individual amount of change order of the 12 million we're discussing today. Then there's a cumulative total of change order of almost 35 million. So can you explain that part? Is that the amount that you said we've approved in the past that we're including here as well?
Vince?
So through the chair, just to account for that, the $4 million was the first year of 2022, followed by subsequent 2 other change orders, and combined cumulative, the additional $12 million will lead to essentially the 3.5 years of services with TCHC of that total cumulative amount.
From the start.
From the start, correct.
Yeah, it's cumulative. It's cumulative.
And Tom, you were saying, even though we have an agreement or will have at some point, that some of this, there'll still be a necessity to fill the back end to, Do you see, do you envision sometime in the future us being independent ourselves with the rents collected to be able to be self-sustainable, or do we still need to get backfilled every year by
through
TCH.
through the chair to the councillor. So they're in moving forward to a new agreement, we would be optimistic that, and we would like to see a TSHC collecting rent. That being said, there are the other elements like TCHC will still own the buildings. We still will require our IT support through TCHC. So that dependency, that back office will be there in the future.
All right, we're not creating our own at some point where we still have to utilize in partnership with the TCHC.
Through the chair, with the formation of TSHC and even the original mandate, the city was very clear that they wanted to kind of minimize any of that duplication in terms of back office, and therefore we have been very kind of conscious of those services that we remain connected to and being received from TCHC. So there are elements in our operation that will continue to be supported through TCHC. Yeah.
Okay, I'm good again. Thank you.
Thank you. Grant, should I put the motion again for approval?
Karen, can you confirm? I can't recall if it was formally voted on or not.
We haven't been formally seconded.
Okay, so yes,
Okay.
please, you can put it back up and we'll do it. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks for clarifying.
Thank you. So Warren, you're moving this, and
I'm formally seconded it, Mr. Chair.
thank you for it. All in favor? It's carried. So it will be next. It will be item number 12. TSHC 2025 budget. Back to you, Vince.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The final 2025 budget note has been finalized in early of 2025. Along there, you will see the attachments of the budget. And of course, attachment number 1 was what the board has approved earlier in December to fund the 2025 budget position. And again, just a key item there was a small deficit in 2025's budget, and the plan was to use the 2024 surplus to be able to fund that in 2025. Some key remaining steps coming ahead for us right now is 1, the mayor, City of Toronto mayor, will be releasing the budget in the coming days, along with the city councillor approving of the budget on February the 11th through council. And those are the key next steps at this point. And there are 2 attachments in there. The first one is the amount that was presented, and the second one is relating to the budget notes that was presented and provided to the city as part of the budget note package that you will find there. So those are the 2 items for information. If you have any questions, you can begin. So,
Any questions for Vince? Yeah. Okay. Hearing none. We will be moving into a closed session to get an update on the proposed enterprise risk management framework. We will come back to the public session after the closed session. I need a mover and a seconder for a motion to transfer into closed session.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. I'm not sure if we're going to entertain question on the budget now or when we go in camera.
Karen, can we have questions in the closed session on the budget?
Yes, we can. We will just add it into the agenda, the closed agenda meeting when we go to.
No, yeah, Mr. Chair, if it's not on the agenda, I don't want to put it on the agenda. But I had a question because we had made, and I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but we had made several requests in terms of our own submission to the City of Toronto regarding the priorities of the TSHC. I was just wondering what's the status of those priorities and whether those priorities were accepted, included, rejected, some of it, all of it. Where are we with that?
Tom or Grant?
Yeah, through the chair. Yeah,
Yeah.
Can I answer that now, or do we wait till we go in camera, Grant? I'm good to answer that.
I think through the chair, we can say that the budget that was approved and accepted by the board has remained intact as it's gone through the process with the city. There have been no changes. So the resources, the business cases that were put forward are still there. And we anticipate there will be that one final approval that Vince noted will happen at council on February the 11th. But there have been no changes to the submission. So all of the priorities and requests that TCHC and the board approved in the December meeting are still in there. And sorry, Tom, is that it? There's
Oh, yeah,
anything else?
That's good. I would have answered. I just didn't know whether when to. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. So are we okay to move into closed session now? Yeah, Farid, you're fine with the answer?
Yes, I'm fine. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Then I need a mover and a seconder for the motion.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Warren. I need a seconder, Farid. Thank you. All in favor? Carried.